Alright, you've also probably seen it, meta here, meta there, meta yada yada yada. There's a lot of meta builds at the moment. We're obviously talking about loud, not stealth. Stealth is so broken, it's really hard to actually find a meta build that sort of works. There might just be different kind of meta builds for stealth, for whatever reason. The main reason being flashbangs. Regardless though, we're talking about loud. And I'll bring you my version, I guess, from the meta build. For those who haven't seen it yet, check out my 2 sniper builds. They're almost identical. I recommend checking out the tanky sniper build, which is the one I shortly released after the first one. That one is slightly better. I might have already seen some common use. Because the funny thing is, this Shotty build that I'm going to show you, yes, it's once again a shotgun build, and there's a good reason to it, is almost identical to the sniper build. The only difference is, instead of having all the skills in professional, you have all the skills in mechanic. Soldier and ninja are identical. What do I mean with that? Quite simple. For the soldier tree, in Juggernaut, you just get extra protection. In this case, ace actually kind of matters. The armored up is just there for a little bit more damage resistance. You don't really run armor back, so that won't really matter, but it's just for the damage resistance. Head guard to regenerate the armor chunks faster. And obviously Beast of Burden mainly aced, so that you don't suffer the movement penalty when carrying 2 bags, which is kind of nice. If you compare that to Noli's pistol build, for instance, he has the basic version, but he do have a movement penalty. And I really hate that movement penalty. It just sucks. I just prefer to have the aced version of it, even though my kind of like setup that I have at the moment is making you move a little bit slower. You can still change that if you actually want, but we'll get to that in a second. But mainly why we have this is Bastion. Bastion is crazy strong. I really feel like they need to nerf it or even entirely remove it, because it kind of makes sappers and cloakers obsolete in this game. It's insane that this thing has a cooldown of 45 seconds. They should at the very least bring it back to a one-time use so that you actually have to think about whether you want to use it or not. Or best case scenario, just remove it. That skill is just straight up broken, especially if you're soloing or all your crewmates are dead, because sappers and cloakers are just not a problem. However, also important here is Scavenger, and I only have the basic version of it, just like the sniper build. The reason being that there's always that like little chance that you can get the smoke grenades back, even though this build literally doesn't even require you to use any smoke grenades. There's just like that little niche kind of mechanic in case you feel threatened or something like that. Just toss a grenade out there to survive the onslaught that you're getting. But this whole build is meant that you're completely destroying everything, basically. That includes bulldozers, it includes snipers, literally everything. It doesn't matter. But that's it for the soldier tree, identical to the sniper tree as I mentioned. Same thing applies for the ninja tree. I guess here worth mentioning is you can juggle these skills around a little bit. This is what I just thought is kind of like the most helpful in my case. Obviously dodging in this game is just brutally crazy. I generally recommend having on the run, just for that straight up 15% dodge every time. And obviously the more skills you invest into the ghost tree, the more dodge you gain. The funny thing here is dodge this. It has a max dodge chance at 80%, which will go down by 20% for each active armor plate you have. The armor that we're running has 3 plates. There's a reason for it. AKA, we'll have a max dodge chance of 20, I believe, at the beginning, then 40, and then 60. This, if I'm correct, unless I can't math right. It doesn't really matter. You will get the gist of it soon enough. And the cool thing is, this goes even higher if you just stand still for 2 seconds. Shooter chop is really just there to bring the 3 up. It's a, I believe, a 1-point investment. Yes, it's a 1-point investment, which gives you a little bit more dodge chance again. But it's mainly just to unlock tier 3, because you need to, or I think tier 8 or tier 4, I can't remember. But it's just, forgot where to put the skills in, and I thought like, yeah sure, a little bit more dodge chance is fine. Regardless, shooter chop on its own doesn't matter, you get more dodge, that's the only thing that matters. Under pressure is there in case you actually lose all the armor, which is very, very unlikely to happen, I can tell you that. But in case you do lose all the armor, you will passively heal in case you take the health damage. And on the run is, as mentioned previously, just for even more dodge. And here's where the funny interaction comes into play. With the smoke grenades, you kind of like buff all that stuff, right? So if you're in a smoke grenade with smoke screen, you essentially just double the chance, or you get a flat 25% dead. 25% chance to dodge if you don't have anything. Brain fog is really nice because the enemies will just deal 20% less damage. And the funny thing is, like, I've played so many missions now, I just don't use smokes anymore. I really just use them if there's somehow a situation where I'm in a pinch. For instance, fighting 3 bulldozers is such a case, where I feel like, sure, let's just toss out a smoke grenade, but you actually don't have to. Heavy Smoker, I believe, was just for unlocking a further tier. And I mean, might as well just increase the range a little bit. The main thing here is Escape Artist, which is like your last resort sort of deal. I only had one single instance where Escape Artist actually triggered, and that was when I was fighting 3 bulldozers at once. That was the only instance when I triggered this once. The downside obviously is you will lose it down regardless. But the cool thing is you won't actually go down. So you'll just be immune to everything for 6 seconds. So you can just kill the bulldozer that was trying to kill you. Same applies for the snipers in case for some reason the sniper is sniping you. But that's kind of like the your last resort sort of thing that makes this build juicy. And this whole build with Soldier and Ninja is prepared to the eventuality when the mercenary frame bug actually gets removed. For those who are not aware, before we get into the mechanic tree, if you use the mercenary frame, the 4 plate armor type, you get damage immunity for 2 seconds whenever one plate breaks. That currently applies to all frames. So regardless of what you use, you just get damage immunity. Which is completely broken for basically any kind of build. And I do believe most builds will struggle as soon as that bug gets fixed. In our case, since we're right at the armors already, I'm using the Saboteur frame. 2 penalties, one is the speed, and the other one is the plate regen. The funny thing, however, is the plate regen just didn't matter. I really hardly ever felt that. The speed penalty, you do feel that a little bit. The ammo capacity is now also fixed, that kind of works, so that's good. But the main thing we have that is, if for whatever reason you do run out of throwables, which is very unlikely because you're basically never going to use them, you do have... You get 1 smoke grenade back every 15 seconds. That's only the case if you're at 0 smoke grenades. So, the funny thing about that, smoke grenades on its own, well, it doesn't show you here, but it lasts for 14 seconds. So, what can happen, for instance, is the Escape Artist gets triggered, which deploys a smoke grenade. Your final smoke grenade. That lasts for 14 seconds. But then, you just gain another smoke grenade back. Sure, it has a cooldown of 120 seconds, so that thing happens again. But at that point, you have like your armor back, and you can run away, and you can toss another smoke grenade to just escape. It's really good. It's really, really good. Just having that permanent smoke grenade up every time, it's just very nice to have, especially for Escape Artist shenanigans. So, if you feel like using a smoke grenade, if you're like unsure whether you should actually use it or not, just use it, trust me, it doesn't matter. You'll have enough smoke grenades, and in case you do run out of smoke grenades, you still have that passive ability from the Saboteur frame that just will give you 1 back after 15 seconds anyways. That's one of the main reasons. Another reason is the resistant plates are actually pretty good. They're really, really hard to break. With that kind of setup, I believe, I can't even remember if I had any heist where that broke. Like, not even a single plate broke, I believe. So basically what I have is, I have the impact armor plate at the very right side, so that's the first layer that's being damaged. And, well, lucky us with Mercenary Frame, once that does break 2 seconds, you're going to be immune anyways, and then you only have to wait for another 3.4 seconds to actually get that back. Although, I do think that plate regen timer thing there is actually broken. I think it's less. I believe it's broken because of one of the skills. Regardless though, you get that impact plate back very, very fast. And in case your resistant plate does get damaged, remember that bulldozers and techies, they keep dropping armor repair kits, so you just repair back up. And also don't hesitate on using that, just do it. Like, even if it's just a sliver that's damage, just use it. It kind of won't matter. You will have enough. It's better to just be able to regen it than having it actually break. And even if those do break, remember that your dodge chance is actually going up. So even for the eventuality that both resistant plates do break, you still have that single impact plate and you have way more dodge chance. So you will still be able to tank a lot. That's the key benefit of like this kind of setup. And now finally, for the mechanic, this is the way I laid out my shotgun tree. This is how it felt the best to me to use it. Obviously we have a calling shotgun, we got the basic and the ace version of it. What this basically does is it turns your shotguns into snipers, meaning they're at that point accurate. Instead of having spread shots, they're like very targeted. And the more pellets that hit a target, the more damage you do. And it kind of starts ramping up more and more if you like hit the same enemy with all the pellets basically. And obviously this just starts ramping up the more skills points you invest into shotgunner. We have point blank just for the additional damage if you're actually really close. Honestly, it felt to me this didn't really matter, but it's just for like the extra pellets, spread reduction, that stuff. Then I had to use stockpile shotgun, even though you don't even need that, because you just have enough ammo. It's literally only because we need 5 skills to unlock tier 3, so that's why I invested into that. Then we have Annihilation, which once again will increase the damage that you're going to do with the shotguns. We have it ace for even more damage. Speed Loader, which is, in my opinion, pretty important. You don't need the aced version of it. It's fine if you just have the basic version. Because the 1% faster reload is more than enough. You really don't need more than that. It's totally fine. These shotguns, they reload so fast. You don't need the aced version of it. And then finally, Berserker, to take even less damage from all the enemies that are surrounding you. And even better, you can reload and fire shotguns while sprinting. So you're just going to be zooming in there, killing everything, blowing things up sort of just with your shotguns. And in case you're ever in a pickle, use your smoke grenade. But it's very, very, very unlikely. What I realized is you're basically just not going to die. It's so unlikely. Pistol, use whatever. Overskill weapon, I have Sociopath, use whatever. In my opinion, Sociopath is just still the strongest. It gives you that little damage immunity, you can run around fast. It's for these kind of situations, it's pretty nice. And you can like revive your teammates, all that stuff. Tool, doesn't matter, I just use it. Infrasonic mine, because it's sometimes fun to use. Deployable medic pack in case you do go down. Remember the escape artist. You can restore some downs. And then finally, the shotgun of your choice. Literally. It doesn't matter which one you use. Use whatever you feel most comfortable with. What I can tell you from personal experience is the M7 appears to be the strongest. It's a bit tricky to handle because of the burst shots. But you can work around that by either meleeing or reloading while you're shooting. But it's a little bit weird. But it has the highest damage output in my opinion. Just overall, it's very nice to one-shot stuff. The FSA is still pretty strong. I do feel the M7 just overtook it a little bit. I actually haven't tested the Task 12, I should probably try that out too. I don't know how good that one is, but I imagine it's just fine as well. And I also tested the Rheinfeld. The Rheinfeld also works. The downside of the Rheinfeld, in my opinion, even though I think Chef likes that one, but in my opinion the downside is it's sort of slow because it has like the little cooldown sort of between shots, which is what I don't really like. And you have to reload a lot. I believe for the Rheinfeld specifically, you might consider swapping from Annihilation to Speed Loader, for instance, to get even more reload speed. Might come in handy. You can mess around with these two skills, it's up to you. But what I find the funniest weapon to use is the Moscone. As dumb as it sounds, only 2 bullets in the mag. It's so much fun to use this thing. For once, obviously, 2 shots into the head for the bulldozer, they're dead. It literally just 2 shots down. So 1 mag is enough to kill them. And they're going to be up close, so they don't really do any damage. They're just a choke. Really. They're just a freaking choke. It one-shots pretty much any enemy, even the shields. And the funniest part about the Moscone it one-shot snipers on a 100-meter range. I tested it on Road Rage. It doesn't always happen, but it happened very often. I was 100 meters away and I one-shot the sniper with the Moscone, which just feels ridiculous. You will have to aim with it. I kind of recommend aiming if you're shooting enemies further ahead, but it's just such a fun weapon to use. And as a reminder for the judge, you can use it, but it has a bug where if you're in close range, it does less damage. So I recommend not using it, but I mean, you're just going to use the Moscone only anyways. So you can basically just bring a silent pistol to sort of like help out in stealth for people who want to start out in stealth, I guess. And just a small side note why I believe that the Shotty build is the best. There's a couple reasons. In regards to the sniper build is stronger in terms of damage, but it's a bit tricky to build it up. You need to land a couple headshots in the beginning, and that might be a little bit more tricky on controllers if you're playing on console. That is why I personally recommend running the shotgun build, because you can just go crazy with it. And another note, since Knowledge just released a video about this pistol build, I personally believe, not only because it's going to get nerfed anyways, because remember the bounty hunter skills, this one is going to get nerfed. Not only because of that, because that's just a minor nerf. The main reason the pistol build is bad, in my opinion, is because it works better if you're solo. As soon as you have multiple people, they'll start stealing your kills. Like, not intuitively, they're just doing it because they want to kill enemies. So it sort of relies on that the others are kind of running this too, in a way. And then again, it also relies that you're actually tossing your flashbang, that you're marking them, all that kind of shenanigan stuff. I just personally feel it's not really good. And you're sacrificing a lot of skill points just to kind of like make this Hitman flashpoint sort of thing work. And I tried to somewhat optimize that with ECM chambers as well, but I just felt like, nah, it's not the thing. Don't get me wrong, the pistol build is really fun to use, especially if you have like a million lasers on the map, but I just felt like the shotgun build is just better. Especially Moscone, it's just even more fun to use. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll nerf it to the ground. Maybe they don't, because I do expect that the pistol build gets nerfed a little bit, as well as the sniper build gets nerfed a little bit. Shotgun build, I'm not so sure. But we'll see. So yeah, have fun with this, try it out. Trust me, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this. It's very easy to use. And well, enjoy the game. Bye-bye.